All right, Dirty Sports episode 857 live on YouTube in 5, 4, 3. Welcome to the Dirty Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Andy Ruther, coming to you live from Cincinnati, Ohio, with my co-host from Southern California, Joey No Chill Prano.
Hello, Andy.
Good afternoon, Joseph.
Good afternoon, sir.
How you feeling today?
I'm feeling good. I'm glad we got a little late start today. I had a late night last night, did a show at the Improv, ended up hanging out, just got home, slept in, just got up, fresh coffee, fully poured here, and just ate some bacon, ate some eggs, ready to go.
Well,
went to Whole Foods, got that Whole Foods bacon.
Oh yeah, that good bacon.
Yeah.
Well, we have another guest today.
Champing at the bit over there. I could see him shaking. He's doing his pre-fight shadow boxing routine.
Wolf of Wall Street.
You know, he's a regular on Dirty Sports. We love him. Welcome back, Matty Goldberg.
I'll give you the
Yeah. Goldberg has returned.
It's good to see you guys.
You too, Maddie. Here's the thing, man. Every time you come on, you always wear a great shirt. What are we wearing today?
I was trying to mix it up. This is the Alex. I got this at a garage sale for $5. Alex Caruso. Don't know much about him, but it's a funny ass shirt, I think. Because who would buy an Alex Caruso shirt like this?
You would.
So, at a garage sale. I wouldn't buy it at the Staples Center for $30.
So I don't think they sell it at the Staples Center, for the record. So
they probably sold it on a very similar podcast's merch site to this very one. You know, it's like somebody recently bought a Zeke Walk shirt also at a yard sale. Like, I got this Zeke Walk shirt for $5.
Are you at the garage yard sale, or who are you doing this with, or did somebody get it for you?
No, I was in my neighborhood and I walked by and I saw all these shirts. I'm like, oh my God, I got to get this shirt. It's funny. So I bought it in my neighborhood.
Man, I feel like
I can already see Maddie holding a dog and with his other hand trying to get $5 out of his wallet. It was probably the most arduous process.
Of fact, I had a couple dogs and I got to get that shirt. So I returned the dogs and I came back with $5. So you're right. Just, yep.
Now, I'm surprised they didn't look at Maddie Joe and just say, "Here, take the shirt, man. I think you need it."
That's mean.
I wanted to support the neighborhood.
In addition to Maddie always coming with a good shirt, Maddie also always comes to the Dirty Sports Podcast with a beef with me that I don't know about. Maddie, do we have beef right now?
No, not at all.
Okay, cool.
I've been listening to the show and I was like, hey, I just have a few healthy disagreements on the Derek Jeter thing, but it's not like I have beef. I just was like,
yeah, okay. Because sometimes you get here and you're like, I haven't talked to you in 2 years because that thing you said that one time on Twitter about Tom Brady. I'll be like, oh, I didn't know we were beefing.
Luckily, I'm off Twitter, so I won't be seeing your Tom Brady hate. I know he's gone today for personal reasons. I have no idea why, but that's kind of weird.
I'm assuming a blood transfusion, getting filled with the blood of virgin babies or something like that, so he can play till he's 50 and age backwards.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But no beef. Okay,
well, cool. we got a lot to talk about today. We obviously we're all chomping at the bit to talk Hard Knocks, Detroit Lions. Episode 1 aired Tuesday. And it's a doozy. Like, at this point, after watching the episode and all the things Joe and I have discussed over the last few weeks, I don't know what the game plan is for the Detroit Lions. It seems like it's turned into just a movie.
Yeah.
I don't even really follow. What do you mean? It seems like it's turned into
a
movie.
I was saying that it's like a movie because they're such underdogs and the coaches are rah, and
gotcha.
You believe in the story, and then you're like, okay, they're going to win 4 games. it's kind of like Major League, like the movie. You're like, oh my god, this team is so bad, but there's like a charm to it because they're an underdog, and it's setting you up for this like beautiful story of them winning the division. Where unfortunately the Lions are going to get so pumped up, and then when the season starts, they're going to win 4 to 6 games,
but
and
not over 6, right, Maddie? They're over under 6.5, and some I don't know.
So close. I think Vegas has that perfect because they only won like 3 games last year, but they should have won a couple more. They blew like that Minnesota game and then that lucky field goal against the Ravens.
They blew the Pittsburgh game too.
So there's a couple games they blew, but every time they blow a game, you're gonna get a great Dan Campbell crying press conference.
But isn't that that's what bad teams do? That's what I'm saying. Like I understand that they should have won. See, I've heard that argument for God knows how many years.
God, if the New York Giants won games they should have, they'd be going on to their 5th straight 10-win season.
A guy did kick a 74-yard field goal that hit the crossbar and went over. But
again, they let them get in that position at the end of the game. So
Parcells says it best. You argue what your record is.
And look, my thing, and we discussed Dan Campbell at length, and we will continue on today's episode. I just want to start off, and we're going to obviously play some clips. I want to ask at this point after episode 1, is Dan Campbell he has to fully be aware of what everyone says on the internet. At this point, I wonder, is he serious or is this just a shtick? Is this just a shtick?
I think he's serious because I think he's leaning into like all that he is. Like he's clearly, Dan Campbell is clearly Dan Campbell. Now he has, I don't know, trained under Sean Payton, as we saw, which I don't even want to go into overrated, underrated. Sean Payton, overrated in Joe Prano's overrated, underrated scale. Sean Payton, overrated. So, okay, trained, but he is Dan Campbell, and he might have whatever his coaching history is and stuff, but you can only be who you are. And I think that that's the good thing that he has going for him. When I watch Hard Knocks, I'm left feeling a couple of ways. One, everybody seems to like him. Everyone seems to like him. They're probably going to rally together as a team. They probably all like each other. The environment seems good for everybody. It definitely doesn't seem like a locker room that's got a whole lot of disarray in it. Everybody seems to be having a good time. His coaching staff is filled with former players, and he's like a rah coach instead of the new fangled nerd boy coach that played, slot receiver at a D3 college and was only able to do so because they knew absolutely every intricacy of the game. Dan Campbell, the complete opposite of that. Guy looks like he's 6'8", made it to the NFL because he was a goddamn monster. And now props to him for being I want to learn the game after and do all these things and become a coach. Great. But all that is, like you guys said, kind of something out of Remember the Titans or whatever, because you look around the NFL right now and long gone pretty much are rah head coaches.
Thank you. And
long gone pretty much are staffs full of former players. So it's in theory, it all seems great on paper until you realize every team that's successful looks totally different on paper. And that's my takeaway. It's cool. You guys all seem to like him. Maybe this will work. I'm betting against it, but maybe it will.
Yeah, I want to just say also props to Hard Knocks, because last year was the worst season they ever had. It was so boring. I mean, Mike McCarthy coming out there, he comes out, he's we're going to win multiple championships. And you're just as soon as he says that, the first sentence, you have him zoned out because he's so boring. He's so unconvincing. And now you got Dan Campbell is just fun, man. He's excitement. He gives you what you want.
So no, and by the way, I don't disagree with any of that. Yeah. But Joe just hit on it, and I put that in my notes. What what are one, or if not a few, name any current successful NFL coaches that are rah-rah. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
No.
Like
none.
who've been consistently good, who are that type of coach.
The days of Mike Ditka are over. They really are.
I mean, even like take a Jim Harbaugh. I wouldn't call Jim Harbaugh's hard nosed, but he also, he
knows the game.
That's what I'm saying. And like he played at a Pro Bowl level, multiple seasons at quarterback. My point is, even Harbaugh, and Harbaugh was obviously very successful in the NFL.
And Harbaugh's also like the closest that we have.
That's what I'm saying. And he's nowhere. I mean, Harbaugh's a 1 compared to a 10 of Dan Campbell when it comes to the rah-rah. My takeaway was this, and I know Lions fans are going to hate to hear this, and we'll play some clips. After watching a full episode, I leave that and say, what is your game plan? You have a rah-rah coach and all your assistant coaches are
I think it's pretty clear. I mean, if you watch the episode, it's pretty clear. Grit. That's the game plan.
And they're not going to quit. So a lot of teams quit.
But that's my point. It's like, you guys, what is your defensive scheme? What is your offensive scheme?
Grit.
And not quitting.
Would you want to know about special teams?
Yeah.
Grit, grittiness, not quitting, like Maddie said.
He also says these things that are just like crazy, like, we're going to knock their dicks in the dirt. And it's just funny because you hear that.
Well, here's one. Here's a quick 4-second one.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes, I will beat your ass. Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes, I will beat your ass.
Doesn't matter if you have one ass cheek and 3 toes, I will beat your ass.
That's from the Bill Belichick style of coaching.
Yeah.
But again, look, is he entertaining? Is he
Bill
fun?
Belichick is right now coming up with an elaborate borderline illegal wildcat formation called one ass cheek and 3 toes just to troll Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, did you see this? Did you see this play? Like, they're like, Bill, tell us about this. He's like, yeah, we do this very last minute substitution, which is borderline illegal, where it seems like one of our guys is running off the field, but he's not. He stops. Then we throw a fucking reverse pass to him, and the whole defense falls down on the ground because they're like, what? How is that not a flag? And we score. And then they're like, what's that called? And he's like, one ass cheek and 3 toes. And they're like, what? Are you trolling Dan Campbell? He's like, no, it's just what we call it.
I mean, what is going on here? And then we obviously played the clip, which was leaked before the first episode, the one of him addressing the team about grit. Here is, and by the way, this is what I love, because I had to grab it this is from a Lions Twitter feed. I love the caption for this. How could you not want to play for Dan Campbell from this 22-second clip?
All I think about is you guys. That's all I think about, man. That's all I fucking think about is you guys and how I set you up for the best fucking possible, the best possible advantage I can give you to have a season. I swear to you, man. I just need you to trust me. That's all. Please. Let's be better tomorrow.
Okay, so he's obviously.
I want to play for Dan Campbell. I do.
You?
Yeah, but here's the thing. There for sure are guys in the NFL, coaches in the NFL, whose attitudes, we've seen it over the years, fucking, Jason Garrett or whoever, that have this, that you look at them, Ben McAdoo. You look at them and you're like, no one wants to play for this fucking cheddar dick. But that's like 3 people in the NFL each year. The worst 3 coaches, the fucking Urban Meyers, people are just like, fuck this motherfucker. I don't even want to go to the fucking locker room to be in the locker room with this fuck. But the other 29 guys, people, you don't become a head coach in the NFL without people wanting to play for you and without you being able to get something out of your players. The problem with this Dan Campbell fucking show is that when they start out 1-4, then people aren't going to want to play for him because they're like, okay, we're still doing fucking up downs. How about figuring out how to make Jared Goff throw it to our fucking team? It was all fun and games during, training camp, but now we're getting our dicks kicked in and you're still talking about fucking grit. How about talking about what we do to this fucking wide receiver?
Well, in his defense, he does the up and downs as well. He looked like he was going to die too.
Yeah. Well, look. Here's my thing again on him. I have no problem with emotion. I'm a very emotional person. I cry a lot.
How many times did you cry during the Hard Knocks episode?
I didn't cry at all. And I'm a very, very, very emotional person. But again, I have no problem with emotion ever. Like, I never have a problem when people get emotional. But at some point, again, I just keep coming back to this. What is your plan? Like, first of all, you need to learn science. I don't think Dan Campbell understands science. He keeps talking about burying someone in water. I'm not sure how that works. You can drown somebody in water. You can throw them in water. Burying them in water, I don't know. It seems like a weird.
Wow. All the people, Andy Ruther coming at somebody for a misphrasing of something. Are you literally upset that Dan Campbell had a Rutherism?
He had a lot of Rutherism.
He's like, guys, we're gonna go out there and beat him like a bush.
What about
that's our philosophy. When you line up against the other guy, think of him as a bush. Beat him. A dead bush.
Nobody's talking about Hutchinson's mother. She was a pretty good looking lady.
How about Hutchinson's one sister though?
So I looked him up. So his mom was like Miss Teen Michigan, and his sister was like Miss Michigan or something like that. Yeah.
Keep the mom away from Mr. Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
So here's my take on Aiden Hutchinson. Here's an early Ruther predicts. I don't think he's going to work out. I think he's going to be a bust.
Wow. You really want Lions people to come at you?
No, yeah. I don't. I just look. Here's my thing on Aiden Hutchinson. Obviously, he comes from the pedigree. His dad played college ball at Michigan, so he's got the genes. I just think if you like, and I know this can happen.
I know you're already hating him. He's got too much JJ Watt vibes for you to like him.
No. It's not that. I don't get the JJ Watt vibes. Did you guys know much about his college history? Like, he played 4 years. He really did nothing. And I mean, nothing.
Last year, he was pretty good, though.
Until last year. That's my point.
Yeah.
Like, he did nothing. He wasn't even starting. And I know guys can slip through the cracks. Tom Brady's a prime example. Tom Brady also went to the Patriots in a great system. You're going to the Detroit Lions. Did you just call Tom Brady a system quarterback?
Oh.
Well, they're all system quarterbacks, but my point is he went into a perfect system. What I'm saying about Aiden Hutchinson is you're going to the Lions. That's not helping your cause. I know this was kind of a weaker draft class, but as the number 2 overall pick, you got to be like a home wrecker on that line. I don't watch enough college football to give you a judgment right now on, I don't have draft grades on him. But the thing about this Lions team, and I think this is going to be the real undoing of Dan Campbell eventually, is you can't draft in the top fucking 5 every year and not have talent. Like, they have talent on that team. They absolutely have talent. This is not a talentless football club. That's not why they go win 3 games every year. You don't get the Detroit Lions aren't just bust. We've seen this historically on teams that are bad, and then the guys finally escape and they go somewhere. We've seen it with the Lions. I was mocked relentlessly on the internet for calling Matt Stafford a top 5 quarterback. He left. He won a Super Bowl MVP. The fucking first day he fucking left. So this is not a team without talent. But the thing is, you need to know how to, especially when you're a young team. You could, maybe that rah shit works if Dan Campbell takes over the fucking Patriots tomorrow and they already have everything in place and he's just there to fucking motivate. But you need to shape young talent and fucking teach them the game. Yeah. And I mean, Dan Campbell's teaching them up downs. So that's cool, I guess, if you ever up down in a football game. Meanwhile, you have fucking Aaron Glenn and Deuce Staley fucking screaming at each other in some sort of weird figure skating dance that they're doing. Another thing I found weird, the assistant coaches are just as rah lunatic. I loved watching it. 100%. I loved watching it, and agreed. I kind of loved their passion. Agreed. But I also played football
And if I was standing there on the sideline next to the, I played receiver. And so when I played receiver, it's always like, okay, get me in the game, get me the ball. If I'm standing on the sideline watching my offensive coordinator fucking walk circles, screaming at the defense coordinator, I'd be like, this motherfucker doesn't know what
I've never seen that before.
Yeah,
with two coaches like trash talking each other.
So
it makes for good TV, but I've never seen that before.
Yeah, no, it makes for great TV. But now, Maddie, obviously you're a Patriots guy, and they're like they're what everyone wants to achieve, right? As far as what they've created and all their dynasty. My point is, I always try to picture the best teams.
Sure.
So I'm picturing as I watch this episode, I'm picturing a Patriots training camp, a Patriots organization that has been run so efficiently. And I'm just thinking, they're not doing any of this shit. And not that you have to copy the Patriots, but my point is, I watch this, and again, I'm just saying, what's the plan? Like, if I'm a player, I definitely want to have a coach that motivates me. I definitely want to have a coach that taps into something that make me go the extra level. But at the end of the day, you need some sort of game plan. And grit, I just don't know what that grit means.
I mean, most coaches don't do that stuff anymore. It's like, it's a very college atmosphere where they're like, well, you can do that to college kids, but pros, they're not going to accept that. And so that's why Dan Campbell's kind of different. I just don't know how long the intensity you can sustain it for 17 games, especially when they have talent, but they don't have like top tier talent,
Sure.
So it's odd. It's also odd they didn't do anything about Jared Goff the first week, and he is the quarterback and the most important player. And I'm like,
we're gonna get a whole Jared Goff episode.
Yeah.
They're trying to get us to buy in. They've already done Jared Goff on Hard Knocks
twice. I was telling Matt, this is his third time now.
Yeah,
and it's kind of like fun because I was telling Ruther before the show, the first year he was a rookie, and I remember there was like a guy that worked with the Rams, and he's like, I used to work with the 49ers, and you got like a lot of Joe Montana in you. And they're like kind of being like, he's the rookie boy wonder. And now we're 6 years later, and this is it, man. This is sink or swim for you, buddy. Like, you're not going to be in the NFL
Maddie,
much longer.
Don't you know they built this offense around him?
That's crazy. I mean, he always seemed like,
it's just a ludicrous thing that Lions fans keep saying. It's like, who else has the offense built around them? Every quarterback ever.
Well, that's the other thing too, is like, essentially he was brought here because he wasn't like, we want Jared Goff. It's like, we'll give you Jared Goff. We'll probably pay for a lot of his salary because we don't think we have talent and we don't think he can win a Super Bowl. So we want a guy that can win a Super Bowl. And like, even Sean McVay feels bad about what he did with Jared Goff because, the story about like in somewhere in the Caribbeans, they're negotiating for Matt Stafford, and like Jared Goff doesn't even fucking matter.
Yeah. Well, look, man, he obviously was a casualty of Stafford wanting to leave and them trying to get a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And it obviously worked out for the Rams. It worked out beautifully. But at the end of the day, I love keep coming back to the 6.5 games.
That's what I was just about to say. 6.5 games is the number that they set. Maddie said, you think it's pretty spot on. Maddie's probably the biggest gambler of the three of us.
I would take the over, but I think it's right on the number. I wouldn't touch it.
You would take the over. You'd say 7.
I wouldn't touch it though. Like
now,
I wouldn't bet on it.
My question for you is, does Hard Knocks make you more or less confident in the over?
It doesn't either. It's just entertaining. It's just last year was so boring. Like, I love Hard Knocks. I didn't even watch the last episode. I don't need to see like, Elliott and the quarterback have dinner. You know what I mean? Like that was boring.
Yeah. Well, now you get guys screaming and crying. We'll play another.
Yeah, you got guys screaming at each other. You got like this intensity. Those songs are great. That guy who did the Mexican dance was amazing.
That was good.
Hutchinson doing.
I love how he calls it he did salsa. He did salsa.
Yeah,
it was the Mexican dance.
Sorry, I hope I don't get canceled there. But that was funny as fuck. I mean, it just was edited better.
No, I agree. I think it was overall, it was a crisper show. I want to play the clip. I'll play the full clip. This is Jamaal Williams' speech. It's 1:47 seconds. And this was his passionate speech to the team after practice.
I'll let y'all know, man, today is the minimum of effort. Tomorrow we're going to come back even better. I know we start out slow. I know we got pads on the first day coming back. I know we looking at Coach crazy, but we got to believe in him. You know what I mean? He gonna put us in the right position.
I'm going to stop it there. See, to me, I found that interesting. I know we looking at Coach like he's crazy. It's almost like he's trying to convince himself that. Didn't you guys get that vibe? He's like, yeah. I know the coach is crazy, but he's saying that to his teammates almost like, I don't know if I really believe this, but I'm saying it. Did you guys get that vibe right there?
Yeah.
A little. Yeah, I'd say so. I mean,
we just got to come out here and be.
Go ahead.
No, I mean, it's hard to say. I think a lot of the players who play with other coaches in the NFL are probably like, really? Like, this is what we're going to do? Like, really? Like this is going to work? This rah-rah bullshit? Like, I've played for this coach. I've played for that coach. Like, if you've played for teams that won and they do things completely different, you're just a little like, really?
Yeah. All right. Let me get the rest of this out.
Be dogs. We got to come out here and know we got to be champions. If today y'all think this is it, this ain't it, we got to keep going. Do not give up. Do not feel like you tired. When you tired, think of last year and think of that fucking record. Every time I get tired or I think I can't go no more, I think of that fucking record. That ain't us. We can make it. We got to believe. We got to be mentally strong. When we tired, that's when we got to put our fundamentals together. That's when we got to be more focused. When we tired, look across the field and see how tired they are. That should give you more effort. Be like, I'm going to beat his ass. I'm going to get fundamentally strong. Everybody's great when they're not tired. The champions is when they tired, that's when the real champions come out. That's when that real dog come out. Because if you go piss like a puppy, stay on the porch and let the big dogs eat. Let them on the fucking field. Have some heart.
Whoa.
I get emotional about this. I'm about to cry because I care about y'all.
I love that line. When you tell everyone I'm about to, like, you're letting everyone know I'm about to cry.
Yeah.
Because I care about you. And then he basically,
whoa.
And then he
I
does.
Like that you don't piss on the porch.
That was a good line. That was
I love that. Yeah.
And then he cries here at the end.
You know what? You know what the problem is too is like, I'm curious to see how Mike Miller's gonna do with the Dolphins, and he's kind of like this young, like they call him like a boy wonder kind of genius, and like you saw what he did with San Francisco. So he lines like Deebo Samuel up as a running back because he's like the most valuable player on that team to get him the ball more. And that's like innovative. So now we have a wide receiver, getting like 10 handoffs and doing crazy shit. And that's like innovative because, obviously Jimmy Garoppolo is not that good. So you're like figuring out ways to get your most talented people the ball. Like that's the problem with the Lions. Like, are they figuring out like, how can we get the most out of our players?
No.
And that's the problem.
And honestly, that's sort of the dichotomy of the NFL these days in coaching. And obviously everybody's leaning more toward the innovative boy wonder nerd guy. But when you go back and you look at historically in the NFL, I mean, obviously Maddie has the pleasure of having Bill Belichick, but Bill Parcells, he's obviously comes from the Parcells tree. Parcells, a lot of guys that have come through there, and it's the combination of those two, right? Bill Belichick or Bill Parcells, the perfect example of a guy who was kind of like rah football inspirationalist guy and doing it in a very, very smart way. And you don't often have it's very rare to find a guy who is both. And what seems to be happening in the modern NFL is like, listen, if we got to choose, we're going to take guys who have who are just pushing it with ideas of football strategy. And if that means we don't get any of the rah-rah inspirational coach, then so be it. That's just the way we have to go. What's wild is that the Lions of all franchises who have yet to be able to figure it out at all, literally ever, would go the other way. You would be like, why are you guys going to be the ones that are going to try? All you do is do it different. So why are you guys going to be the ones that go, no, fuck it. We're going to go with the guy who's rah-rah. Here's my thing. I always try to, for all of this stuff, I always try to step back and be like, what if I was watching this? Like, what if this meant something? Like, I don't give a fuck about the Lions. I don't care if the Lions are good, bad, indifferent. I don't give a fuck. I hate the fucking Vikings. And the Kirk Cousins love. So it's like, I'm always rooting for Lions over the Vikings. I kind of root for Aaron Rodgers. So it's like, but like, I don't have any more care about the Lions than I do the Bears. Like, I don't give a shit what happens with the Lions season. So then I have to sit back and go, if I'm judging this, let me just blur my eyes and imagine all of this. They were all wearing Giants uniforms. I would not be able to sleep. I'd be having nightmares about how our season was about to go. I'd be like, this is what we did. We've been shit for the last however many years, which is exactly the position that the Giants are in. And we're going with fucking gym teacher.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I just want to, a couple things before we get going on our very first practice this season. Never play cards with somebody whose first name is a city. Never date a girl with a dagger tattoo.
I know
like,
you're
what
talking
the
about.
fuck.
Teen Wolf. That's a Teen Wolf reference, right?
That's Coach Bobby Finstock.
Yeah, but it's like, can you imagine if that you're an NFL head coach? You're coming with some Bobby Finstock.
So like
everything else and be gritty. Everything else is cream cheese.
So
all right, good game, Scotty.
So like I'm a huge fan of David Goggins, right? And because he's a lunatic. He's that former Navy SEAL who does like ultra marathons and all these different competitions, and he's crazy. And I read his book, and he's dealt with so much adversity through his life. And you watch his YouTube videos or his Instagram videos, and like I get turned, right? But the difference is he's getting me turned to go do a workout. You know what I'm saying? Like I keep thinking of somebody like that when I watch this. I'm like, okay, you're that guy who gets me motivated. But again, I need a game plan to execute on the field, because at the end of the day, I would argue, like Joe is saying, the modern NFL is so complex with so many intricacies. The game planning is so meticulous. I think of some of the other Hard Knocks when they show these guys in the film room and planning and the Sean McVays. I'm sure we might see that, but you literally wrote grit on the wall. Like, it wasn't just a speech. You wrote grit on your wall. This is a 1950s Newt Rockney speech.
Yeah. And I don't mind like the Rex Ryans back in the day who fucking let's go eat a fucking snack. And also you saw all that went into their fucking defensive strategy and whatever. And that was a guy who got along with his players and did the thing and fielded the punts and fucking, was a rah-rah dude. But like, I'm not seeing any like, yeah, man. Good luck to the Lions.
Let me play a call. Let me play a quick call from a DirtBall.
A turnt Lions fan?
No.
Damn. I want these guys on the record.
I do too. Lions fans, call the hotline 310-359-8365.
So, Joe, Andy, number one farmer DirtBall Jay here. I'm watching this Hard Knocks with Dan Campbell, and he just said that all he thinks about is how to get these guys ready. All I think about is you guys, man, getting you ready to play the best football, man. And I think about that like this. With me and a bunch of my beer drinking buddies, that's all we thought about was how to get the rocket ship we're building to go to Mars. That still doesn't mean we know dick about building rocket ships. We would all die in a horrible rocket ship explosion before it got off the ground. And that's just, it seems like Dan Campbell and all of his meathead buddies are thinking about the team, man. But if you got morons thinking about the team, it doesn't get you very far. I think at this point, 6 wins is probably double of what they're going to win. Stay dirty.
By the way, I love this fucking analogy because it made me picture and hear that actual conversation. Like, all right, guys, welcome back to Beer Drinkers Rocket Club. Everybody, first we start out with a waterfall. Everybody drink. All right. What's the most important thing to building a rocket ship? Grit. And they're like, fuck. One of the guys has to be the fucking pilot. He's like, what'd you just say? Grit. Not like rocket emissions and like, engine rocket powered engines. Grit. If you don't care, you're never getting up into space. He's like, can I just be one of the engineers? Do I have to be the test pilot? Oh, you're going. You got fucking heart.
Yeah, it seems that obviously you called it. People buy in every year. Hard Knocks. People believe the hype. They drink the Kool-Aid. Yeah. It's showing right now with that tweet that you sent me, Joe, which I quote tweeted about all the people betting on Dan Campbell to win Coach of the Year. All these wild takes from Lions fans from the state of Michigan. Now is the time because everybody's gonna be betting. I encourage everyone to bet the under. And look, we could be wrong. It could be hilarious.
I'll tell you this. Forget the over-under. Forget the over-under. I'm going to take our call. I'm going to roll it into exactly what we just talked about. If Dan Campbell wins Coach of the Year, I will build a rocket ship out of old Miller Lite cans and attempt to go to space. And if I die, I die. But I'm going to give my best effort. I'm going to motivate. I will build a rocket ship out of Miller Lights and make an actual attempt for space travel.
So,
but
no, I was going to ask each of you who has the most win, like outside of the Packers. How do you guys see this division playing out? Like,
I think the Vikings will be a little better. I still like the Packers. Who else? The Lions, the Packers, the Vikings, and the Bears. I mean, I think the Packers will be 10-7, 11-6. I think Vikings 9-8, Bears 7-10, Lions.
So you're proving my point then, Maddie. You still have the Lions at the basement of the division.
Yeah, I'm thinking like either 6-11, 7 or 10. That's why I think the over/under's right. Like Vegas got it perfect, but no division, like no coming out of nowhere division champ bullshit.
I'm going Packers like boat race the division, 13 wins. The Vikings will be 8-9 or 9-8. The Bears, I agree with Maddie, 7-10. I think the Lions win 5 games.
The thing
I wish I could bet down. I wish I could bet it down from 6.5 to 5.5 and still bet the under.
The thing about the Lions is if they have a rough start, that's my thing. Like when you have a raw coach.
Well, don't forget they have that 4-1 stretch at the end of the year.
You have to have a good start.
Where they've already penciled in wins against teams in their division that were 8 games better than them last year.
By the way, they do play the Patriots, Brandon, which is hilarious. They're at New England. So that Bill Belichick play that he's going to run. So they start out home games against the Eagles, Commanders, then they go to the Vikings, and then they have a home game against the Seahawks, who are going to be bad. So look, you do have 4 winnable games, 3 of them at home to start your season.
And listen, I'm a Giants fan. I'll be desperately rooting for you guys against the Eagles and the Commanders. And you're probably going to let me down twice.
I mean, whether Belichick cheats or not, it is wild because when they do play the Lions, he's going to figure out.
Sorry, hold on.
He's going to figure out how to what to take away from the Lions, what works against them. And Dan Campbell's going to be like, hey, 1 ass cheek, 3 toes. Let's go.
Yeah.
The Bill Belichick's defense is going to hold Jared Goff to 3 points by halftime. They're going to be down 14-3.
What was your strategy in this game, Coach? And what worked? Is like we just tried to make sure that Goff didn't get a good look, and tried to change it up at the line, and he kind of played into that and threw a couple picks, and and then they're like, Dan, what happened? What went wrong in this game? Oh, you didn't try hard enough. It's about effort. Props to our guys. They gave 98%, but I'm not here to get 98%. I'm here to get 110. Now, a lot of people ask me, Coach, like, if you can go over 100% effort, if you can go 110, why not go 120? And I'm like, well, that's not how the saying goes. You got to give it 110%. which is like the new max. So that's what we're going for, 110. And they give me 98 today. It's not enough. Okay.
So Goldberg, let's mix it up a little here.
Yeah.
You're back on the show. It's been a minute. You're also coming on to talk about a very special, do I call it a mini pod series? Like what you have going on with your podcast.
Yeah, I really appreciate you having me on, and thanks for letting me talk about Hard Knocks as well. And thanks you for giving me a little time. So I had a friend that I used to do comedy with. I don't think Joe
first of all, what's the name of your podcast, Maddie? So everybody knows. The Sports Hole.
Yeah. So it's with our buddy Luke, who used to be a part of the Dirty Sports team. And I found this guy online named XFL Jim, whose specialty is alternate football leagues. So he's obsessed with the USFL and the XFL and college football. He's a character, and the CFL.
Hopefully he's watching Hard Knocks and scouting some of the soon to be coaches and players in one of the alternative leagues.
But he's a character, and he's really fun, and we have really good conversations, and we've kept it really light lately. We talked about like movies and shit, but I had a friend who used to do comedy. I don't think you know him, Sean Murphy. Do you remember him in New York?
No, sounds like a name of a million comics.
There's two Sean Murphys. So apologies to Sean Murphy that's doing stand-up that's not in a whorehouse in the Dominican Republic. So I had a buddy, he lost his mind. He went to the Dominican Republic. He found himself in a brothel, and he blew $30,000 in 1 month there. And he thinks he's going to marry one of the girls. He came back to America. I said, I'd love to interview you. I'll change your name. He said, I don't care. You can put my name on it. So I did a 4-hour interview. I broke it up into 4 parts on his adventures in Dominican Republic. And we put it on the podcast. So I just thought some of your viewers, that'd be a nice crossover, because I know some of your viewers would enjoy some of that crazy content. So it's quite the interesting interview.
So I have listened to, you've put 2 episodes of the Sean Murphy little docuseries.
Sean Murphy Chronicles.
Yeah, I'm like halfway done with the second. You just released the second one a couple days ago. So he went down to the Dominican Republic during the pandemic.
Yeah.
He essentially, I'm just trying to summarize some things so people understand heading in. He basically took
when everybody else zigs, he zagged.
He took the pandemic money.
Let's go to the Dominican Republic.
He was getting unemployment, so he had 30 grand in the bank. He found himself in a whorehouse, and he just went nuts.
I mean, nuts with all these girls.
What he essentially did was he rented an apartment a block or like whatever, a few blocks away from the brothel. He bought 4 girls for a week, and he had them live with them, and he just had crazy orgies with them. And it brought up a lot of problems with the guys, because guys come there to have sex with these girls, and he took them all. So now he's got a problem with all the guys who want to like beat his ass up, and he doesn't care. So that was kind of funny.
Well, you know what I found interesting too is like he gets mad at you really easily.
I know. Like I think it's funny.
Like he's like, let me finish. I'm trying to talk. Let me finish. And then he called you a mongoloid one episode.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. I don't take any offense when he attacks me. I find it hysterical because
This is the second time this episode that Ruther has criticized somebody for something that is literally Ruther's MO. Did you just say this guy snaps and was really mean to Matty Goldberg?
Yeah, I know.
See, I don't take it serious though, because Andy, like when Andy used to snap. This guy, I just find like, I don't know. I just find it funny when he yells at me. Like I like getting him riled up too. So
by the way, I snapped. Side note, I snapped. I snapped this week.
Oh, I'm
big
sorry.
time.
House issue?
Yeah.
I fucking called it, bro. I'm telling you. People fucking doubt me, but like as far as like studying the human mind, like I am a fucking master. I was like, this house is going to break Ruther and bring back old Ruther. Dude, you snapped multiple times already.
Yeah. Well, I snapped at my girl, and I hate to do that. And
no.
I know.
Right when you're moving in.
That's not me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a stressful time moving in, stressful time doing whatever. Andy, I know your girl occasionally tunes into the episode. Do you want to publicly say any words to her? I'm sure you said some things privately, but you know, there's like 5 love languages or whatever. That's what I've heard from being force fed the same self-help books by 11 girlfriends. But do you want to like publicly acknowledge any of your wrongdoings?
I'm not going to reveal her name yet because I'm learning from mistakes of the past. I am sorry. I told her I was sorry before, but I'm sorry. I'm trying to relax more, calm down. Everything is not going to be perfect. Things happen with the house. I need to learn how not to have control over everything. And I promise to do better, baby.
I'm about to cry.
That's beautiful.
I'm about to cry. And also, I ain't gonna piss on the porch. Or whatever.
It's because you care so much, man.
Now, unlike my situation, your boy who lived in a brothel, my girl is not a child. I looked at some pictures on Instagram. It's like, yo, dude, what is it? Like, these girls look young, man.
Yeah, I mean, he claims they're all of age, and I would say it's right on the limit. And that's one thing. Like, I did have
the Dominican Republic is, probably a different laws
I had to
too.
edit. I definitely edited some stuff out. Like we edited a lot of stuff because he does start talking about like, yeah, this girl was 19 and he's in his 40s. And I'm like, come on, dude. Like, I can't put this out, and he's all over the fucking place. And I just found it was really like, I don't know. I offered that I would take his name off it. I go, if I interview, I'll take your name off it. And he's like, no, I want to put my name on this. And like, you can go to his Instagram and see the picture of the hookers with him. He's got pictures where they're like stepping on him. There's like 4 girls stepping on him. He's feeding them. Like this is a guy too that was a very smart guy. He got a perfect score on his LSATs. He was an LSAT tutor. He went to Berkeley Law. Like, he could have been something. And like, he's in the DR in whorehouses blowing all his money. And the next episode's coming up. He runs out of money. Like, I'll give you a spoiler. He goes to jail twice. He talks about masturbating in jail and shooting loads on the wall. And it's just like,
Jesus Christ.
Like, did you get to the part where he talked about how he got a job as a security guard and he got fired for having a boner?
No, I just got to the point of him getting a job as a security guard. So
he gets fired for having a boner.
So that's all available.
Yeah.
On Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Sports Hole. And I think that's a good segue to, we're discussing a guy and women, to discuss Jeter, right, Prano?
Sure.
Yeah, because Maddie wants to bring up.
No, okay, so I listened last week, and I know Joe is very critical of Derek in the sense of like, okay, there's these shortstops are better than him. And I'm not here to argue that, but there is an importance because Joe and I are around the same age. We both grew up in New York. Like, Derek Jeter was the dude. Like, there is like, the documentary kind of loses. It doesn't really know what it wants to be because part of it's about the Yankees dynasty. And then part of it's about Derek Jeter's private life, which I think is more interesting in the fact that he's the last athlete in New York that, like, the tabloids competed to get the best story about. And that's what I find interesting about him. And like, you can't deny that every girl had a crush on him because
absolutely
I knew girls that were not sports fans all of a sudden were like, Jeter. And like, yes, okay, was A-Rod better player than him? Absolutely. But just what he brought to the table of New York, he's like the last guy in the line of Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio of being that kind of I guess heartthrob athlete that we'll probably never see again.
But this is my essential problem with Derek Jeter all time, as he's revered is kind of exactly what you just did. You're just like Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, Derek Jeter. Excuse me? You know, two of those guys are two of the greatest players to ever set foot on a baseball diamond ever. And the third was a handsome shortstop.
But that's what we're looking at. We're looking at like the fascination of, because he was the, like they say in the thing, like if the New York Post got a Derek Jeter was at this club with this girl and the Daily News didn't get it, it's like the Daily News, you're fucked, you know, like you guys fucked up. And that's, I think, should have been more the angle of the documentary as opposed to, you know, saying he's, you know, probably the all-time great. I get what you're saying, but I also think like for shortstops, we went from, there was like Cal Ripken and that was it. And then your guy, Barry Larkin, he could hit some power, you know, and he was taller. But like with Jeter and A-Rod and Nomar, the game kind of changed. Like now you're seeing like 6 feet tall shortstops that can hit home runs. And therefore, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I think, Joe, if I can hop in here for a second, I think Joe's argument is strictly baseball. And his point is that Jeter was definitely clutch and he was great in the postseason, and no one denies. I think Joe's argument is he was put in a good situation. And, you know, we just talked about it with Brady. Like, situations do matter for athletes. They matter for any job. If you're put in a situation to succeed, it's a lot easier to excel. And I think that's the argument, is that Jeter was put in that situation while also being one of the worst ever historically at defense, which is half the game.
Well, so the other thing is like Tom Brady. Listen, Maddie and I can go back and forth on Tom Brady all time, but the difference, like this is that's like kind of a totally different conversation. Oh, Tom Brady, he gets put in Boston in a good system, and Boston, the fans are so difficult there, and if you don't perform, they're gonna whatever. This is all the stuff they say about New York. Tom Brady holds every fucking record ever.
True.
Tom Brady holds every fucking record ever, and part of that is being on a team that is good and being able to do it for a really long time. And also, I said it, you know, Maddie and I and we all did this. I said, listen, the GOAT conversation ended when he leaves and he goes to a different team and he wins. Right now, that doesn't change my opinion. Like, knowing everything I know now, if you give me an unknown roster and a 1 draft pick, would I still take Peyton Manning over Tom Brady? Yeah, maybe. But that doesn't mean I don't think Tom Brady is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever and the GOAT, whatever. But like, when you talk about Tom Brady did everything that Jeter did off the field with the model girlfriend, with them, blah, 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 blah. But he also holds every record ever. Jeter's 94th all time in WAR. We're talking about 94th. He's 6 spots from being in the triple digits. Let alone guys like, again, listen, my thing is always overrated, underrated. Eli Manning came to New York. Eli Manning fucking had avoided the tabloids and had the girlfriend, delivered 2 championships, and was way more valuable to 2 Giants teams than Derek Jeter was to 5 world champion teams. But yet we sit around and we go, is Eli Manning a Hall of Famer? And we sit and we go, Derek Jeter should have 99% Hall of Fame ballot. He's absolutely in. Do you know what I'm saying? It's just about, to me, overrating, underrated. The bottom line is Derek Jeter as a brand and as this thing, great, cool. And ESPN doesn't make a documentary and put it on unless they think people are going to watch it. Haters, lovers, whatever. That's why you put things on the air, for ratings. But the bottom line is, and this is it, Derek Jeter is overrated.
I thought he was a great player. I'm not going to say underrated, overrated. He was a great player, but these documentaries are made because he's a celebrity. And that's why it had to be made, because I do find it interesting that he is I'm not looking at it as like, is he better than this guy? Is he better than that guy? Is he the greatest of all time? Absolutely not. But I do look at it as like, from my youth, being 18 or 19 and, being around when the Yankees were winning all those World Series, he was the captain. Like, he owned that fucking city. He really did. Whether he was the best guy or not, he owned that city. And that's all I'll say. So
Well, and that's fine. I think it's almost like two different discussions where ours is more been strictly baseball wise. By the way, and I get it. I get everything you're saying, and you're right. And I didn't grow up in New York, and I still talk about it. As a kid who grew up in Cincinnati, everybody talked about Jeter and the girls, and you knew that, and that was the thing. That was the thing. Even for me in high school when they're winning those titles, I remember that he became the face.
Yeah.
Whether it was deserved or not, I that's up for debate. But he was the guy, and you're right. He was good looking, or he still is good looking, and all the girls wanted to be with him. And obviously, there's the infamous meme. It's the Derek Jeter herpes tree, which is hilarious. Of all the girls that he dated, supposedly he gave this one herpes, and this one gave that herpes, and it's been like a joke forever. But
he also denies the whole gift bag and the whole signing a NDA as well. Which I don't know. It could be true. I don't know.
Sasha Vujacic was really good looking too, and he was also the 6th best player on multiple championship teams. But we don't fucking suck his dick.
I think Jeter was
Sasha. Wow, we got a Sasha Vujacic reference.
I think Jeter was a little better than Sasha. I mean, I don't know.
Sasha hit some clutch free throws in that 2010 finals.
Clutch, good looking, banging chicks all over fucking Los Angeles. Not the best player on his team.
I'll ask you one question.
Second best player on his team.
The Jeremy Giambi play, like, is that overrated or is that like genius? I don't know. Like sometimes I'm like, what the fuck was Jeremy Giambi doing? Yeah, like a lot of that has to do with Jeremy Giambi, not Slight.
But that's my point. That's sort of my point.
Jeremy or Jason Giambi?
Jeremy. The one in Oakland where he, the backhand flip. Derek Jeter. That's a great play. No fucking doubt about it. And the time he caught a ball in the middle of left field and took 6 more steps and fell into the stands was a great play too. But what the fuck are we talking about? That's the thing with Jeter is we use these moments. We just like handpick these moments and we go like, this is it right here. This is what Jeter was. Meanwhile, like, think about if you were going to say, I don't know, like some incredibly, how many Robbie Alomar, like elite defensive plays at second base do you think you could put together if you put together a highlight tape? More than fucking 3?
Yeah, thousands. But again, this is show business. Show business is show business.
Absolutely, Maddie. But you were, I don't know, you're formerly retired, you're in a retirement, you're Brady retired from comedy, but you know how it goes. You've been in this game the same way I've been in the comedy game and Ruth's been, and we all go out and we're like, this guy writes great jokes and this guy writes great jokes and this guy writes great jokes. So how come this guy gets all the fucking accolades? And it's like, because we decided to make that person a thing.
It's life is very unfair. And Jeter is kind of the example of it because he was born with intangibles that Robbie Alomar wasn't born with, or another shortstop that had better numbers wasn't born with. And it's just like, it just falls into those
intangibles were being drafted by the Yankees.
And also being good looking, being charismatic, and somehow again, I can't control.
I'll go so far as to say this. Is Derek Jeter charismatic?
But look, I'm just telling you what it is. My older sister worked at a video store, and she worked with this girl, Marileth, who smoked cigarettes and never watched baseball. And then one day, every day, she's got a Jeter shirt on, and she's watching every goddamn game, like so into the Yankees and like thinking like Derek Jeter's going to marry her or something. And it's like, that was the effect he had on people. I can't explain it.
My sister had fucking Joey Fatone on every corner of her room. She had 1,000 Joey Fatone pictures. But like fucking Derek Jeter, she thought he was fucking good or important because he was surrounded by talented people.
You're comparing Derek Jeter to Joey Fatone.
Dude, this is an all-time Frano take.
Yeah,
Derek Jeter.
He's what the 4th best guy. He's not Chris Kirkpatrick, right? Chris was the 5th.
Joey seemed like Joey Fatone was out of breath. Like they
Joey's dances. Let's rank them in order of talent. We're going. We're obviously going JT, JC, Lance, Joey, Chris Kirkpatrick.
Well, look, I feel like as someone who used to work for Lance Bass, I have to stay out of this because I'm biased. I would do it. I would do it that way.
You would do it that way, so you're not staying out of it.
Well, I got called out. I got called out the other day by my significant other saying I had rated him too high because we literally, it's so funny. We like had this discussion about
where you rated him in the group,
where we rated the members
him,
of it.
And you put him third.
I put Lance third. Yeah. But again, I also saw him every day
I put him third, and I have no ties to the guy. Like you go JT, JC, Lance, Joey, Chris Kirkpatrick.
Yeah.
Right. Derek Jeter's not the ace pitcher on the staff. He's not the number 2 that's going to go shove in game 2 of the World Series. He's not their 3 hitter. He's the table setter guy on offense. He's fucking Joey Fatone.
The ladies loved him. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. The ladies fucking, my sister had his fucking picture on the ceiling.
So Goldberg.
Yeah.
And then we'll let you go.
Sure.
Let's just finish up a little baseball discussion.
Yeah.
Mets have won 6 in a row. Did Philly win today? They had won 7 in a row entering today. Did they win or lose?
Who's that?
Philly.
Did they win what? The wild card or
no? Did Philly win or lose today?
It's 1 p.m.
I have no idea.
Ruther.
No, they had a 1 p.m. game.
Oh, did they? They're losing 3-0.
Like
they're losing 3-0 to the Marlins.
Okay, but my point was this: they had won 7 in a row entering today. The Mets have won 6 in a row. The Dodgers have won 10 in a row. So we have like 3 teams on like big hot streaks.
Sure.
And obviously the Dodgers have the best record. The Mets now have the second best record. And I think now is the point of the season where people are really showing their true colors and how good some of these teams can really be.
Mm-hmm.
I know where Joe stands. At least I think I do. Where do you stand, Goldberg, heading into playoffs?
Well, it's kind of crazy because the Dodgers put so much money into their team that if they don't win, it's such a disappointment. I think for the Yankees as well. I like the Mets and I like the Buck Showalter story. I think like one of the things that is interesting about him is he started 30 years ago in New York, and he's like, he's an incredible baseball guy. You just see like as soon as he comes there, he just turns everything around. He gets the best out of everybody. And I think like probably in his heart and his head, leaving the Yankees and having a win like 4 World Series when you kind of built that team, probably like, there's a lot of unsettled business he has in New York. So I do like that angle. It's just the Dodgers are, they're tough. I mean, Dave Roberts ain't good in the postseason. We know that, but they're so loaded. And I think that's who, like Joe said last week, that's who the Mets really got to worry about. I like the Philly story, but I think they're not like a little lower tier than that. And, I think the Yankees and the Astros are going to be a very good series. And I think those 4 teams are the best right now.
I got to bring something up that was just like, I know we probably talked about it when it happened.
Yeah.
But yet I've been going through the whole season on this show and on Dirty Slides talking about it like it hasn't happened, even though I'm sure we talked about it when it did happen. I had to be reminded by our hockey correspondent, Ryan Klatt.
Yeah.
I think I hid it from my memory because I didn't want to believe it was true. I've been acting as if we still have 2 wild card teams. We have 3 wild card teams this year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I forget too.
And there's like some sort of bye system now in baseball.
Well, it's fun because I like the Orioles have a chance to make the playoffs. Who would have thought that? I mean, they're playing, important games, which if they didn't have all these wild cards, I'm not like, I remember like Bob Costas used to always annoy me because he was such a traditionalist. But, baseball's getting killed in the ratings. They got to make things more interesting, and you got to have more teams involved at the end of the year because you're really getting your ass kicked by football right now. So, I like your Mets. I love the story. I like why there's a bigger guy.
Now, what do you think let's say it came down to the Mets and the Dodgers in an NLCS. Do you think the Mets have a chance?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because the Dodgers they play great in the regular season. They're not that good in the postseason, and they got lucky because I don't know what the hell Kevin Cash did with the Rays taking his pitchers out.
Yeah.
They kind of handed the Dodgers a World Series on a weird season. besides that, with all these teams and all these payrolls, they've really done nothing. So, yeah, absolutely, I give him a chance. The Mets, and like you said, I mean, when DeGrom, if he comes back, I mean, Scherzer's a bulldog. You have a great 1-2 combination.
So it doesn't come down to whose shortstop's handsomer. It comes down to who has the more elite pitching staff.
I'm just
a lot
talking
like
about
every fucking Yankees team ever.
Documentary. Like I was saying, like ESPN goes, how can we get people to watch?
I know. I'm just saying. My point is like we all talk about we all like in the moment we all talk about baseball precisely how it is. The Mets do not have the best lineup in baseball, but the Mets, according to Fangraphs, have the best % chance to win the fucking World Series right now, because the Mets in every series they will play in, regardless of who they play ever, will have the best 2 pitchers in the series. And if they're healthy, how do you fucking beat them? That's what it's like when you bring Mike Mussina and Jack McDowell and Roderick Clemens and Andy Pettit and all the fucking people that you brought to 5 fucking championships teams. And then we talk about the charisma of the guy at fucking shortstop. Like that fucking matters. Oh, David Cone. Honestly, I'll say this. This is my final thing. And I think I said it on this show. I think I said it on Dirt's. David Cone deserves a fucking 6-part documentary more than fucking Derek Jeter. Derek Cone's a legend. Jacking off in bullpens.
Yeah, he got caught whacking in a bullpen.
Wait, remind me of that. What happened?
Before a game when he was on the Mets, he was like jerking off like in the bullpen to these girls before a game. This going back to like 89, 90.
Yeah. And then they fucking move on from him. And David Cone is one of the dirtiest, filthiest in terms of stuff pitchers I've ever seen to this day.
Yeah, he was a hell of a pitcher.
5-time World Series champion, by the way. Blue Jays, Yankees.
David Cone or baseball's ratings will help tonight, or I'll be curious what the ratings are tonight. The Field of Dreams game.
I can't wait to watch that. It's going to be against, preseason football. Preseason football still always does well.
But you have 2 garbage teams, right? You got the Cubs and the Reds.
Yeah. It doesn't matter though. It's just so cool.
That's what, tonight?
Cool
thing.
It's
tonight.
Oh wow.
To see the guys come out of the cornfields and like
that's nice. It'll be I'll watch it because the Mets aren't on tonight, which is great. Yeah. Mets are off today. I'll watch it. That's the baseball I need.
Yeah. Here's something funny real quick and I'll let you go. I'm shopping for, speaking of baseball and talking about announcers and stuff. I was shopping for a fridge yesterday at Lowe's and sure enough, I meet this guy who used to produce for years. He's retired. He did so much Fox and Fox Sports and CBS, and he knows all these guys. I mean, this guy was 83 and it was so cool. Like he did he was telling me personal stories about how much he loved Vince Scully and how prepared he was, and Jack Buck and then Joe Buck. Like he remembered it vividly. I was talking about like the 90 World Series and he's talking about producing that, and that's how he made his living. And I think he did very well, but it was really cool and interesting. Dude, literally just looking at fridges, it went from, he's telling me don't get that fridge because of a brand. And then suddenly we start talking. Next thing you know, it's like 45 minutes later and he's talking about everything that he saw and heard. But here's what's interesting and not surprising. He talked about the Tom Brenneman thing, and he's friends with the Brennemans. And he said, if you only knew what was said on that mic when it was Marty Brenneman and Joe Nuxall doing the Reds games, he's like, dude, if you only knew. But here's something kind of wild, which I assume most people would know, they don't know. Fox fired Tom Brenneman, right?
Yeah.
I don't well, everybody's calling us today. I don't know if if you guys knew that he's calling games in Puerto Rico.
You got to do what you got to do. Maybe he's in a whorehouse.
But here's the funny part. Or I don't know if it's funny, but it's interesting.
This is like the Hank Azaria show on fucking IFC.
So he said that everybody's like, oh, he's got to you got to start back from the bottom. that's actually a Fox affiliate, which he said most people don't know. They fired him, but they threw him like a minor bone and was like, we'll get you somewhere.
Well, what they probably did is they probably didn't fire him. They just removed him from that broadcast, had a contract with him, and were like, well, listen, if we're going to pay you, you're going to work somewhere.
Well, I should run, boys. It was awesome.
Good to see you, Goldberg.
Yeah, guys, check out the Sports Hole with Maddie.
Sean Murphy. Part 2 is up. You scroll back one episode for part 1. Start there. You'll learn about salsa orgies, reggaeton threesomes. You'll learn all about the degeneracy of the guy, Sean Murphy, who blew 30 grand. Who thinks he's going to marry one of these girls, which is crazy.
Yeah.
He's taking him for $6 grand, by the way. He said he's giving her $6,000. Crazy. But I love you, boys.
We love
you
too,
see you,
Maddie.
Goldberg.
Always good to have you on.
One. Enjoy your night, guys.
We'll bring you back during football season.
Peace out, boys.
Later.
Ruther, before we move on, I mean, just coming off the high of Matty Goldberg, while we have everybody's attention, I just want to let everybody know I have a show August 25th at the Hollywood Improv Lab. I always wait till the end of the show to get plugs in, but not right now. People coming off the end of Matty Goldberg, waiting me to say something about Goldberg right at the end here. Now, August 25th, Hollywood Improv Lab, Joe Prano and Acquaintances, as I've titled it. Lachlan Patterson, former guest of the show. Nate Craig, former guest of the show. Sam Goldstein, good friend of mine. Mary Romeo hosting. Special guests to come. Tickets available right now at improv.com and all over all my social media at Joe Prano and everything except for Twitter. I'm at Face for Life. Thank you. Yeah.
We forgot to ask Maddie why he didn't show up to your recent show that was right by his house.
Yeah. He had just gotten a Caruso shirt. He was, he had to do laundry. I didn't know Maddie had to run, but breaking news that I saw come across the Apple alerts on my phone and then sent to us by Randy Ruther. And I wanted to get Goldberg's thought on it because, he's a big Boston guy, but it's been announced that the NBA will retire Bill Russell's number 6 jersey league wide.
The Jackie Robinson treatment.
That's the ultimate.
Yeah.
Right? They haven't done that for Jordan. They haven't done that for anybody ever.
Yeah.
Huge.
Number 6 retired.
I think kind of appropriate. I like it.
Yeah, it's fine with me. I mean, there's certain people that achieve that. Is there anybody in the NFL? So for baseball, it's Jackie Robinson, number 42.
Yeah.
I don't think the NFL has anybody.
No, I don't believe so.
And they'll never do that because they don't want to give up any possibility of money.
Right.
All right. One last number equals one last possible jersey sale. So the number 6 is retired. So LeBron's like Miami 6.
Right. He's like Mariano Rivera or Mo Vaughn or those guys or Butch Husky who got grandfathered into wearing 42 and then got to wear it until they retired and then no more. And hopefully, honestly, I saw already in just clicking on one article when that broke, people being like, I hope LeBron goes back to 23. I hope LeBron stays with 6 in honor and wears it out. And then, if he changes teams or whatever, he changes his numbers. I'd like to see that.
Well, LeBron's been 23 on the Lakers, right?
Well, he was 23 and now he's 6.
He changed again on the Lakers?
He changed again on the Lakers.
I don't pay attention to numbers enough.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Who else has been a popular number 6 in the NBA?
Tyson Chandler. Dr. J.
Yeah, Dr. J.
Other 6s. I don't know.
All this talk of 6s, I assume would make you want to have a 6-pack of Miller Lite.
Bro, honestly, as much as like that is true, it also, for me, when I think of Miller Lite, I think of Willie Mays. I even think of Kobe Bryant from time to time because I like my preferred method of Miller Lite. Sadly, they don't make 30-pack bottles. I'm a bottle over a can guy. Love a good can of Miller Lite. Have a have a John Stockton of cans in my refrigerator right now because they don't sell bottles at the local Whole Foods here. But what I should have done, I should have gone and got me a Willie Mays of bottles via MillerLite.com because they'll deliver it to you.
Well, not just MillerLite.com, MillerLite.com/dirty sports.
Yeah, of course, /dirty sports. That's what I should have done. I should have gone to MillerLite.com/dirty sports and got my preferred King Griffey Jr. of Miller Lite bottles.
There
but
you go.
Absolutely, in a pinch, I'll get a LeBron James. I'll get a Bill Russell, a Miller Lite, no doubt about it. And when I'm feeling really, really wild, I'll get a Michael Conforto. You know, I'll go for the 30.
There you go. There was movers last week who came to grab the stuff from my girlfriend's place to put in the new house, and just a hot day. I mean, like one of those scolding hot, humid Midwest days. These poor guys just were parched. And I said, guys, I don't have bottles of water, sadly, but I do have some cold Miller Lites in the fridge. And the guy was like, dude, this is better. And these guys, I gave them each 2 for the final hour of the move. I mean, they were just the look of happiness on these guys' face, just to have a cold Miller Lite, set it down. They had to, take some things apart, but just the joy, Joe, that 96 calories brings people.
Well, I'll tell you something because you bring up a good point. Like it's kind of a standard thing, historically, for bros. I'll help another bro move, and it's like, we'll get you beer and a pizza. Come on, we'll get beers and a pizza. And my thing is, I've talked about this. It's sort of, I don't believe in heaven or hell. I maybe believe a little bit of karma. I've done a lot of bad things in my life, but I've also helped a lot of people move and not ask for anything. And when you're done moving, you don't want an IPA.
No,
you don't want a porter or a stout. You want a delicious light beer. And I will tell you, God's honest truth, I'm not going to name names of other light beers. But if I'm done moving and you hand me a light beer and it's not a Miller Lite, it's the last time I move you, bro.
Sure.
And if you hand me a Miller Lite, I'm like, we moving shit tomorrow?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Exactly.
What's going on? What do you need moved? Is your girl moving in with you? Should we move her house? Let's go.
So next time you're getting ready to enjoy cold ones with your crew or help some movers, go to MillerLite.com/dirty sports to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere they sell beer. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
Can I tell you something else, Andy? And this is not part of the Miller Lite ad per se, but I just want to tell you how much I really do truly enjoy the original light beer, the goat of light beers, the goat of beers, in my opinion. So the other day, I finally found a place to swim near my new location. And I've gone there a few times. I go the other day, been surfing a lot. No, there wasn't waves. I was like, okay, I'm going to go get a swim in. And I ate good that morning. I had a good breakfast. I had a protein shake at lunch. I swam 120 laps in like under an hour. I was like, went hard. And then on my way home, I was like, you know what I want to do right now? I want to go to the supermarket. And this is why I went to Whole Foods. I was like, I want to go get the nicest piece of steak that I can get. And I'm going to go home and I'm going to cook a big fat steak for myself. And I'm going to get a John Stockton and Miller Lite cans. And I'm going to have dinner tonight is a gigantic piece of steak and a gigantic cold glass of Miller Lite. And it was perfection. No side, no rice, no potatoes, no veggies, big fat fucking steak. And I broke out a double mug and poured 2 full cans of Miller Lite in there. And that I was like, this is all a man should have for dinner.
I bet you slept great.
I slept like a goddamn, like a baby on fucking, Benadryl.
Yeah. I bet. A little workout, a little food, a little Miller Lite. That's all you need. You want to hear from the Dirtballs?
Of course.
310-359-8365. That's our hotline. Give us a ring. We'll start out with a non-sports call.
All right. Sorry, Andy. I was drunk. I'm sorry. I'll be more concise in this. This attempt number 2. Here we go. This is Landon, Greater Nashville area dirtball, the number 1, in fact. And I am a performer like you guys. I do comedy and like various other sort of like, comedic avenues, like on stage in Nashville from time to time. And I was wondering, as performers, what is your post-show turn down routine? For those dirtballs who have not experienced being on stage, doing things that have the end goal of making people laugh. If they do laugh, it gives you a crazy high. And at the end of that high, you're kind of left to yourself, just sort of, there. And I was wondering what Joe and Andy, professional comedians, do to turn down at the end of their sets, unwind, and sort of ground themselves back in normal life. All right. Condoms are for, I'm going to go with Aaron Rodgers.
Wow.
Well, first of all, Landon, appreciate the call. Secondly, if you know anything about us, we turn down for never.
I was about to say, I turned down for cocaine and hookers, bro. Stay up until you crash, bro. No.
It's true though. If you have a good show, the high of making a room laugh, especially if it's a lot of people, and you know this, it's a drug. It's like a sex high. It's like a drug high. It's tough to. Would that be the serotonin? What would that be? What would be the
Probably.
chemical in your body?
Yeah,
that's
probably.
just amped up.
Dopamine.
Dopamine. That would be it.
It's kind of the same process, but like when I was in New York, and still now when I do comedy in New York, a lot of times like I would be like, oh, I'm at a show. Let's say I was at the Stand, which is one of my favorite clubs in the whole world. And it's currently located in Union Square, which is right by a subway station. And I would always go to, I was often traveling to Williamsburg or to Brooklyn, like when I lived there or when my sister lived out there or whatever. So for me, I could get off stage, hang out for a minute, and then I could get right on the subway if I wanted and go back. But a lot of times what I would do is just like walk it off. I'd be like, I'm going to walk 3 or 4 stops east and I'll get on the First Avenue L train. So like a little bit of a walk off. And now in LA, especially where I live now, or when I lived in my last place, or when we both lived in Venice, it's like for a lot of the clubs, you're coming from Hollywood. So it's like get in the car, calming music, I'm not listening to fucking, I'm not listening to the party jams on the way back. I'm turning down with a little like, I don't know, little quieter music, a little folky stuff, a little country stuff, a little Radiohead or something like that. Just like a wind down. And then I get home and I, again, not to continue to plug, but like one last Miller Lite when you get home, a celebratory, we made it home safe. Or what I'll often do is I'll come back to my place. I'll pour myself just 2 fingers of bourbon neat and crack a Miller Lite and just get basically a little travel home with some calming music, a nice nightcap, and then we turn down for bed. We turn down for bed.
You fool. The only time I turn down is when I sleep, bro.
Yeah.
I always like food. Like I'm a late night.
Yeah, you love to go. That's a popular move too for comics worldwide. Is the post show like
pizza
diner
slice?
Move. Yeah. Or like, you love a post show meal.
Oh, I love a post show. That's like a way of turning down. Hey, a couple comics, let's go grab some food. Let's shoot the shit.
Very, very popular in in LA to like take your boys and go to Mel's or go to Swingers or go to Cafe 50s and sit around and chop it up.
Yeah. Well, that's a great way to turn it down because you're just like, okay, let's talk, talk about whatever, the show, just life, whatever. That's a good way to do it. Because you're right.
And then of course, if it's like the early show or if you're on the road or whatever, there is a little bit of truth to like turn down for never. It's like, I'll ride that high the rest of the night and let's go party. And then, we'll wind down after that.
So it's funny that this call happened and we're talking about that. So I've basically journaled off and on for like 20 plus years, even more. Like just like thoughts going in my head, my life, whatever. And it's fascinating to go back and read. And I started a journal. The first time I ever went on tour when I was doing those fraternity tours from frat house to frat house in colleges was 2008, right? So holy shit, that's almost 15 years ago. But I was reading. Oh my God, I was reading it last night. And my goal was to write an entry every night. I was on the road for like 86 days. And I probably only wrote like 15 entries, but like, they're so funny. It's like, so at the time I'm 27 or 28. I'm like, I'm drunk again tonight. I haven't drank this much since my semester abroad. And it's like, I can't stop. Like, it's just funny seeing like partying and girls and partying. And like, and then I wrote it down somewhere. I was drunk and you know how I used to go, like hard, like blackout. I was on the road for like 86 days. I was like blacked out drunk for like 33 of those, which, dude, that's more than every third day I'm getting blacked out drunk and just eating bad. And it's just so funny to look at that now. I almost like had a bad feeling in my stomach just because like the thought of all that booze and no sleep, all that I used to turn down for never. Like all the memories just came flooding back, dude. I mean, that time capsule for me of doing shows at frat houses and then just getting blacked out, like waking up in frat houses as a 27-year-old. Like you couldn't do that. Like, right? Like nobody would do that now.
Yeah.
Don't you think?
Wild.
Right? Like, do you think somebody could do that?
I'm sure somebody is doing that, but yeah, it's a tough life.
But it's like it's fascinating to read what I was writing and then just also hearing like I was writing a couple entries like just performed at Georgia Tech and then Georgia back-to-back nights. And I'm talking about like, I was like, it's wild to me how racist some of these guys are. And it, like the entry was from like September of 2008. I was like, they're the nicest, friendliest people, but like legit racist. And like I wrote in my entry, I wrote like, I jokingly said during my set last night at University of Georgia, if you guys ever allowed any black people in your fraternity? And I wrote this in the entry, a kid yelled out, hell no. And they all applauded. And it's like, why? Like,
yeah,
it's like wild when you
especially
read
it's stuff. Wild. Like Andy Ruther, like 2008 being like, these guys are really, it's like, there was another journal entry from 2009. You're like, I can't believe the diet on some of these kids. I mean, they'll eat Taco Bell every night.
Oh man, too funny. I think we had another. Did we have another non? Oh yeah, this is from Jay from Minnesota. I can play this. This is kind of a non-sports. It's a non-sports call, but it's also related to like it's not comedy, but it's comedy adjunct, which I thought is kind of fun.
Joe, Andy, it's your number one Minnesota farmer, DirtBall Jay. In September, I no longer am a dairy farmer, getting out of the cow game, just a crop farmer now, which means unless it's April through June and end of September through November, I don't have shit going on. So I'm wondering, what are some good side gigs you guys picked up over the years? I got a couple things lined up, soil sampling, stuff like that, but that really doesn't keep me busy during the winter. I have to haul a little grain, but I'll have quite a bit more free time. So I'm just wondering the best side gigs you guys have ever had. Stay dirty.
This is a great question. Side gigs.
I mean, I highly recommend starting a dairy farmer podcast and seeing if you can get one of the great beer companies in the world to sponsor you. It's probably the ultimate side gig. Passionately scream for 90 minutes twice a week about which dairy farmers are over or underrated, and see if you can just get somebody to hand you a check every month for it. That would be my go-to side gig for you.
I mean, all-time LA side gig. We've already talked about it. Keiko.
Oh man, yeah, dude. Keiko is the legend. Keiko is the legendary side gig.
I mean, Keiko
is like the George Steinbrenner of things, just like overpaying for overpaying for mediocre consistency.
Not only media, dude. It depends on what she has you doing. Like Keiko.
And Keiko is amazing too, because like she started out with like Brian, who could build you a house out of like popsicle sticks. And then like, it's like, remember Multiplicity? Every clone they made was like a little bit dumber. And then it was like me, who would like paint some things and sand some things and put up drywall. And then suddenly she was like hiring you to just literally move boxes from one side of her house to the other.
Yeah. Keiko goes from a legit contractor and Brian to you, to me, to I worked with her. She was
you were the Michael Keaton in Multiplicity, who was wearing like the fucking bomber's leather hat and fucking cross-eyed.
Yeah. I'll never forget the one day, because I fell down that Keiko. It was initially us moving stuff to where she had me doing landscaping work and some carpentry work, which like, dude, I knew nothing about. I knew the day when I got when I had a drill and I had no clue what I was doing. And
Keiko's like, listen, if you were here for 8 hours but I don't pay you for lunch, here's $4,000. And you're like, excuse me? What? I ruined your house with a drill.
She used to pay us so much. I just remember, who was the Guatemalan guy?
Oh yeah. I
Alex.
Alex.
I remember that day he was annoyed because it was like, she's like, okay, you and Alex are going to be doing some work with the drill. And I had no clue what I was doing. And Alex
is just doing all the work, and then you're getting paid more than him because you're white.
It's fucked up, and it's true. She used to tell me, don't tell Alex. Wait, you're underpaying the guy who's like got a family and shit?
Yeah. Keiko, legendary side business.
I mean, that's a great side gig. I mean, I've had some random ones. I mean, I worked the door at Cabo Cantina, remember? Because I could just walk there. When
did he say his time off is? His time off would be the winter too, because he wouldn't be it. Like, dude, do what I did and pick a sport that season and coach some youth sports. Legendary side gig, coaching high school baseball for a while.
Well, now's the best time. Everyone's hiring.
Yeah.
I mean, look, dude, you're probably obviously a hard worker. If you're a farmer, like, I don't know if you'd be interested, but like, or if it just be shit work you wouldn't want to do, but any sort of delivery service, warehouse, you name it. I don't know if you want to do that type of stuff. I mean, that's obviously hard work. I've done so many like side gigs, social media stuff. That's my favorite. That's my favorite. That's the easiest work. Hey, we'll pay you to retweet this. We'll pay you to post some social stuff. Okay, cool. Oh, this is what you want me to do? Dude, remember when I ran the social media for the Marnie, was that her name?
Oh yeah. What was that? Like
the Ask Women.
Ask Mom. Oh yeah, Ask Women pod.
The Ask Women podcast. I was on her show a couple of times, and she's like, I need somebody to run the social media. And she paid me monthly for like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 months to run her Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.
Yeah. Which
was a hilarious side gig. Yeah. I'm trying to think of some other ones. I ran a kids camp in LA. I mean, I was a camp counselor.
You were a Manny.
Yeah. Then I was a Manny from that job.
Yeah.
I became a Manny. I mean, dude, if I listed on my LinkedIn, if I was telling somebody this, if I listed all my jobs from my 14 years in LA, like side gigs, dude, my LinkedIn would be the most packed LinkedIn ever. If I'm saying, if I really wanted to list, like, oh, did this for 3 months, did this for 6 months.
This is bringing me back because we kind of blew through it because I was so hyped on shitting on Derek Jeter. But obviously, one of your side gigs was being a producer for Lance Bass's radio show, and we talked about the ranking. So your girl, what was your girl's ranking? I need to know the different ranking. Where was the ranking? What was her order?
I think we were arguing Lance versus Joey.
So she had JT1, JC2, Joey 3.
Yeah.
Lance 4.
Oh, no. She started out by saying Lance was the least interesting of the 5. And I was like, yo.
Chris Kirkpatrick could have been replaced by Kid Rock's midget, dude. Like, what are you talking about?
And I told her, I said the same thing. I said, look, obviously I have bias. And she's like, yeah, you do. And I said,
I really feel like the only reasonable argument, like I really feel like you could get the top 20 like boy band aficionados in the world, and they would all be like, all right, we're going to debate this, but we all agree JT is 1, JC is 2, and Chris Kirkpatrick is 5. So really, we're going to spend this whole afternoon debating on whether or not Lance is 3 or Joey Fatone is 3, and vice versa. Like, I feel like that's the only appropriate thing.
Well, here's the thing. Lance has been.
Chris Kirkpatrick was a punchline in an Eminem song. What are we talking about?
Multiple. Dude, I forget. It's funny you said. I've been listening to like albums. I've been focusing on albums lately the last, I don't know, a few months. And I'm going through old Eminem albums. You forget he was a punchline multiple times in multiple Eminem songs.
So here's the thing. I'm deferring to you here, obviously, because we have the same order, but also even if I was a neutral source, I'd be like, I'm deferring to Andy in this argument because you're not arguing who's 3 and 4. Like the fact that you're even you lose credibility by not having Chris Kirkpatrick 5.
Oh yeah. I mean, well, she ended up agreeing with me on that. I was like, dude, what are we? But she's a little younger, but I was like,
a message from Randy Ruther. He goes, Kirkpatrick was name dropped in an Eminem song. Kind of cool.
Yeah. Or does it give him credit?
Probably sent that before we started talking about it, then hit us with a ha 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 ha. After I was like, that makes him 5, no doubt about it.
Yeah. You're right. It would be between those two. It'd be between Joey Fatone and Lance Bass to debate the number 3. But I mean, like, I would argue successful wise, Lance has definitely done more. I mean, he just like those, like if we're gonna do the Jeter stuff and we list the facts, like he's done more. I mean, he had his own rate. Like, not like many people listen to our show, and I was on the end, but he had a nationally syndicated radio show for 5.5 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had his own show on Sirius XM for 5 years. Joey Fatone opened a hot dog stand in Orlando. I mean, nothing against Joey. He's a nice guy. And he's hilarious. And I'm being serious. He opened a hot dog stand called Fat Ones off of Fatone.
Yeah. And Chris Kirkpatrick hasn't even accomplished that. So what are we talking about? Chris Kirkpatrick has Kirkpatrick and Sons Moving Company, where he comes over and will move you for a Miller Lite and some pizza.
Oh my goodness. All right. Let's do one more call.
Hey, Joe and Andy, it's Mark calling back in from North Carolina. I just saw a stat that said that in the NFL, if you look at the top 50 single-season receiving yards, just by wide receivers. So, for example, Calvin Johnson has the most with like 1,970 yards in a single season. out of the top 50, only 4 have resulted in that team winning the Super Bowl that season. So in light of that, I just wanted to ask, what are your guys' thoughts on like how important wide receivers are in general to a team and, you know, actually winning games? Because I've always kind of thought that wide receivers were a little overrated in terms of impact, but I don't know. I'd just like to hear what you thought. Stay dirty.
I mean, that's an interesting stat. I don't think wide receivers are overrated, but what I think this is very similar to the we've never had a quarterback who led the league in passing win the Super Bowl. That like the bottom line is when you have a dominant receiver, it tends to mean that you have one guy and a pretty severe drop off to the next guy, right? For example, Calvin Johnson. Who was the second best receiver on those Calvin Johnson teams? Marvin Williams? Like, I don't fucking know. Marvin Jones? No,
he wasn't on those teams yet.
I'm like, I don't fucking know. Whereas you're more likely to win a Super Bowl if you're spreading the ball around. You're more likely to win the Super Bowl if you're more balanced passing and rushing. So the idea of having an elite wide receiver that catches the majority of your passing yards, you're probably a pass heavy team with one absolutely dominant receiver, and that does not a Super Bowl team make. Now, I think if you look at, great teams historically who have great wide receivers, Alvin Harper, underrated. John Taylor, underrated. Sure, they had their Michael Irvins and they had their Jerry Rice's, but like even Cooper Kupp, Cooper Kupp wasn't even the go-to guy until last year. And then he becomes the guy. And then you have Odell who comes in at the end of the year. Then you have, Woods before he gets hurt. You have all these guys, like feeding one dude the ball isn't great. But at the same time, I don't think it necessarily means you don't want an elite number one.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking at that list. It's like basically Jerry Rice because of those 4. Cooper Kupp led the league last year. They won a Super Bowl. Jerry Rice led it in 95. They like if you look, I bet they're all Jerry Rice.
I mean, but that's he. I don't even understand. Well, was the question the guy
who has the most receiving yards in the league that year,
right,
does the team win the Super Bowl? And like I said, he said there's 4 of the top 50. I'm looking at the top 50 right now, and just my experience of knowing NFL history, it's Cooper Kupp last year, and I think the other 3, so that's happened 4 times, I'm assuming are all Jerry Rice. Because I'm looking and I'm just scrolling down off the top of my head. I'm thinking these are all seasons where Jerry Rice. Yeah, because none of these, and maybe Michael Irvin. Yeah, 91.
I thought he might have been saying the top 50 receiving seasons of all time.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Which is the point. Like, you could have a guy like Cooper Kupp, or you could have a guy like Jerry Rice. And does Jerry Rice lead the league in receiving as compared to like this guy who plays on a team? Like, think about all the elite wide receivers who carry teams because that's all they're able to do. And then you look at, at what year, I mean, it probably would have been Randy Moss. He loses that Super Bowl. Think about all the years that the Patriots win a Super Bowl. Never is it one guy. That's probably the year it's most one guy. You look at the Broncos teams with Peyton Manning spreading the ball around.
Yeah.
You look at, even Roethlisberger, like we talk about a guy like Antonio Brown. It's like when he was at full form, they didn't win Super Bowls.
There's some surprises, by the way, in here in the top 20. If you look at the 20 most receiving yards in a single season. There's some guys who are like, I forgot about. Like Herman Moore has the 12th most ever in a season.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like you forgot how he was great for a few years. Josh Gordon's 16th. Jimmy Smith, like you forget how some of these guys just.
You don't want the league's leading passer. You essentially don't want the league's leading receiver. You're probably not that balanced, and you probably don't spread the ball out. But I think that is that's a bad way to like study the evidence here. And then I think that the wrong hypothesis to draw from this is you don't want an elite wide receiver. I think what you want is an elite wide receiver that you don't have to throw the ball every fucking play.
Yeah. I agree. 310-359-8365. That is our hotline. Give us a ring. Subscribe to us on YouTube. That way you know we're live when you don't call. So we got a lot of calls today. That way you get the noties. Turn the noties on. Follow us on social at The Dirty Sports. I'm on at Andy Ruther. Joe will be live at the Hollywood Improv.
That's
August
right. Thank
25th
you,
at the Lab. Joe Prano and friends. Go see him if you're in the Southern California area. Or if you're not, fly into town.
Yeah. Please come see me if you are in and around Los Angeles. It's going to be a really, 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 really fun show. I'm going to do a long set. So if you guys have ever come and seen me, or if you've never had the opportunity to see me like either headline on the road or even feature for Eddie or Lachlan, I'll be doing a set, longer than a feature set you'd see on the road. So come out and see that. Tickets are available already. The link is in my last tweet. The link is in my story on Instagram right now. I'm at Joe Prano on everything, including TikTok, which I've basically turned into a Derek Jeter truther account. And I am at Fix Your Life on Twitter. So thank you. And hope to see you guys out. And if you don't come to that, if you're not in the Los Angeles area, I will be at Comedy Cellar in Vegas the last week in August into the first weekend of September. And this weekend, in case you're in the central coast of California, I'll be in the San Luis Obispo area. All those dates and more, joeprano.com.
Cool. All right. That's our show today. As always, thanks to everybody for listening. Thanks to Goldberg for coming on. Always fun to have him on the show. You guys have a great weekend. Stay smart, stay safe, and most importantly, stay dirty.